All right, hey, welcome back to the Semi-Pro Film Show. Today we watched Judge
Yeah, hey, you
Dredd.
know my eyes are closed though?
No,
Like underneath here. Yeah, but my eyes they're not open.
Daniel, your eyes aren't closed. You're just wearing
No, I
sunglasses.
can't even see you. My eyes are actually closed under here.
No, Daniel, I
Like no
promise.
jokes.
You've done
Do
this
you want to see?
before. You've done this
Dude, do you
before.
want
You're
to
just wearing
no,
sunglasses.
I swear it's not a bit. Like my eyes they're closed. They're not like I can't see. You could be
Daniel, I
doing some
can see
crazy
you
crap.
looking at me through your sunglasses. You're just wearing
I'm not.
sunglasses.
I'll take them
It's
off. Do you want to
dark
see?
because you're wearing
Do you want to?
sunglasses.
I'll show you. Do you want to see? I can't see.
All
My
right,
eyes are closed.
fine.
Do you want to see? See, look.
Oh,
I can't
okay. I
see
guess your
you.
eyes are closed. Can you?
So we watched
Oh,
Blade
whoa!
Trinity.
Your eyes are open.
Now what do we do? What are we
Uh,
doing here?
Judge Dredd.
Why are we here?
The
Just to watch Judge Dredd?
Judge
So
Dredding.
Judge Judy, she's thick sometimes, but if she is,
It means you're
that
dreaming.
means you're in a coma or
Or you're
uh
drowning
you're drowning in a
in a son like a
what is
one of
it?
those
Like the submersion
mm-hmm.
subvert what are those called? You
Subverting
on the tank?
expectations.
Right.
It's Ryan Johnson.
Expect to be expected.
Yeah,
And you'll always be expecting.
that's true. What to expect when you're expecting?
Probably a baby,
Mm.
unless you're not expecting a baby,
Yeah, maybe you're just expecting a bird.
right? Or like a package in the mail would make more sense. Unless you're a bird watcher
Go
and
ahead and
you're
send
tracking the
this.
migration pattern of
Go ahead and send
send this
this
to
video
a
to a
bird.
bird,
If you're British, that means a woman lady.
but probably
If you're not
derogatorily,
British,
right?
I don't I don't think it's
I
I
think
think it's
it's.
like as derogatory as like chick, I think. Which is like not super, but
But it's still not
it's
like,
a
yeah.
little.
You still get a little
Yeah.
upset if somebody called your lady that. If somebody
Right,
called your bird
right.
that.
If someone called your bird a chick, you know.
Oh, I get it.
I get it.
Oh, yeah. So
Man,
we
we're on the
watched
level tonight.
Judge Dredd. Go ahead and send this. If
Yeah.
you know somebody who likes
Who's the
Judge Dredd, go
judge?
ahead and send this to them.
If you know someone who is a judge,
If you know
or
somebody who just dreads things,
someone who's any member of the
law.
United States or other countries' judicial system,
Anybody who you know
consider
who's
them.
just like
You know,
they're the
maybe
law.
they're like a federal lawyer. They're a DA or something. Maybe
Yeah, a
they're the
cop.
law. Maybe they're just the law.
Don't send this video to a cop.
Or do.
Nah.
Or do.
Give it, Dan. What if we say something incriminating?
Uh, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
I'm just joking.
I'm just
Uh,
playing.
So Judge Dredd, not
Judge Dredd.
Dredd
We
2012,
were talking about what
starring
movie.
Carl
Yeah,
Urban.
we were talking about what movie
of
we
Boys
wanted to
fame.
do. And when we talked like doing the two Dredd movies, both of us have only seen one of them, and it's been
Right,
opposites.
yeah, this was my first time watching Judge Dredd.
And next week
I've
will be my
seen
first time
Dredd a
watching
good couple
Dredd.
times. Yeah.
And they're drastically different movies. They could not be further from one another in terms
They're
of
both
similarity.
dreadful. 'Cause
Now
they're
we're at a weird
all Dredd.
juxtaposition, though, because you've seen both Dredd movies and I haven't.
Ooh, yeah.
You have power over
I'm
me.
better than you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the law.
So yeah, I remember I haven't seen this movie in probably 10 years. I watched it 2 or 3 times 10 years ago, and I remember really, really liking it from like a corny, kind of bad movie type perspective. Like it's strange and it's weird and it's corny, but I like it.
Right. Yeah.
And that holds up. Like I definitely still agree with that.
It's definitely that. It's definitely corny, fun, bad.
I think I like it more
Movie.
now
Corny,
than I
fun,
even
good,
did
bad
then.
movie. But yeah, there's
There's a lot to
there's more
appreciate.
than that. Yeah, there's a lot of quirky, well done stuff.
There's a lot of
The
kind
look,
of
the general feel and aesthetic of of this film. It's there.
There's a lot of corny, bad
This
stuff.
movie is corny.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of you can make fun of this pretty
If this
easy,
movie's a chip, it's a Frito for sure.
right?
You know?
And not chili cheese,
Oh no, not that honey barbecue neither.
right? But there's also a lot of just genuinely good in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a
There's a
lot.
big robot that looks like
Looks
the Iron
awesome,
Giant, and also Brendan Fraser robot from Doom Patrol.
right?
You ever see Doom Patrol? Brendan
Yes,
Fraser was a robot before he was a great big fat man.
right. And he was both in the show.
I think he was just like a normal Brendan Fraser level fat man in the
got it.
show.
But yeah, I guess we can start kind of talking through the aesthetic, like how the movie looks, because that's
Yeah,
probably its strongest thing. Maybe not in the costume department, except for a
sure,
lot
yeah.
of the costumes do.
I
Look
do
really
I do
good.
like the costume though. Like as corny and stupid as it is, it's cool. They're cool.
I don't love the judge costume as much as I love the rest of the costumes.
Yeah, which ones though?
Either.
I mean, which of the other costumes?
Oh, all
like
of them. The
'cause I
desert
like
suit,
I
the
like the
punks,
desert
the
stuff,
black
the
stormtroopers, the white
the black
stormtroopers.
stormtroopers. The white stormtroopers I didn't like as much as the dread suit. Black one's about the same.
The weird mutants at
Maybe
the end, the robot.
Weird Mutants were cracked.
All of the punks have their own like individual kind of weird
I really
post-apocalyptic
like
aesthetic.
the Dune trench coat that Homeboy wears when he goes and
That's what I'm
retires
saying. Like I
himself.
think there's a lot
Does
of really
retire.
good design outside of the dread suit that's really good.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I like the dread suit. It's real dumb, and I like that they just did the comic suit.
Straight up. Like and now
Like
this is in an era I get. Well,
I especially like the way they show. Like I was kind of making fun of it towards the end when he puts on the shoulders and just straps him in. But I do like that like they show it in the parts. They show just
yeah,
his
they show
undersuit,
it
and
like practically.
it's just like a it just looks like a military like commander type uniform. I don't know.
I mean, you got to think where were
He's got
comic book movie
that
suits at
stupid
this
ass
point.
chain.
So you've got
Mm,
Superman,
had
which is pretty much
sweet
shot for shot like perfect comic book recreation.
right.
Batman '89, which took some liberties, changed things up a
It
little
was
bit.
creative, and then at least one of the Schumacher ones.
Forever came out the same year as this.
Okay.
So yeah, which also like doesn't really look like a comic book costume.
Yeah, but also kind of
Steel.
tough. Oh, Steel maybe. I don't know when that was.
Around this time doesn't really look like
Close enough.
the comic book,
It doesn't really look like anything.
right?
It's like
Kind of looks like
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq Steel.
Yeah.
The
The
canned
Shaq
Roger
O'Lantern.
Corman Fantastic Four, which is a
Sure. Also, just
comic
some
accurate.
Superman thing. Just
So those were the two options.
off
It's like it
costume.
doesn't really look like the comic book suit at all, or it's a perfect replica of it. Like those are really kind of the
Right.
two options. There was no sort of creative freedom and whatever at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first one. Like it's just to take the comic suit, make it again.
Take the money and run. Really.
Take the money and maybe just walk.
I guess a brisk walk though.
Okay,
Like
yeah, for sure.
a
Yeah, I mean
little,
you
a
don't want to
little
get
pep in your
you don't
step.
want to draw
I mean,
attention to
you've
yourself,
got money, yeah,
but
but
you
you
don't.
you still you want some movement.
You got to get away quick. You just don't want people
Yeah.
to be looking at you. Yeah, I get that speed walking.
Right. I mean, some people just walk fast. You
Yeah,
know?
some people got long legs.
You
That's
just
me.
just
I got long legs, dude.
establish yourself as a fast walker. You know,
Yeah,
so it doesn't seem suspicious when you take the money.
just establish yourself.
I guess. I mean, or maybe don't establish yourself if you're trying to slip in, take the money, and briskly saunter out of there.
True. True.
Yeah.
No, I do. The costume design is wonderful in this movie.
It's wonderfully silly.
It is. Well,
I
but
like
I
that.
think everything
But
other
also
than the
it's
judge suits is not super silly, other than maybe the
I
white
mean the
stormtroopers.
storm even the black ones are they're pretty like they're still big bulky looking Roblox robots.
For
They
sure.
just have a cooler chest and helmet
For sure.
design.
I do think they're supposed to be robots.
Maybe they're at least supposed to look like robots.
Yeah.
It's a cool design.
I think they're
It's
supposed to
also
be robots,
silly.
which makes them better.
Right.
There's lots
Yeah.
of robots in this movie.
Yeah.
There's at least two, four if the stormtroopers are robots.
Well, a lot more than four because
Well,
they're
four different designs, I guess.
robot types.
Right.
Yeah.
Once again, that's if the stormtroopers are supposed to be robots. You got the
I mean,
little
is there?
the food droid.
Oh, food truck. Right.
Eat recycled food,
Right. Eat
which is
poop
poop.
and Coors.
Although
Yeah.
once he cracks it open, there's spaghetti in it, so I guess maybe it's like food waste that's been recycled.
It's probably poop that they turn into spaghetti. Let's be real. Like,
Poop sketty. Spagoopy.
no.
Speg poopy. Um,
I got this girl and she wants me to poop her.
yeah, so there's the recycled food robot, there's the giant robot whose name is like ABC or something.
It's ABC. It's just robot. It's Fido once. It's something. Who cares? He's a big cool
He's
iron giant.
awesome. We'll get to him for
Rusty
sure.
bot.
He's
Yeah, we'll
he's
get there.
sick. But yeah, and then there's the set design on top of the costume design. And the set design is where I think this movie really begins to shine. Like it's for sure the strongest element of what this movie presents is its suit design, or not the set design.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. Like it's a perfect set for this movie.
It definitely captures the vibe, the feeling, the essence of this movie, and probably if I knew anything about the comics, probably also the if not the, the perfect adaptation at least seemingly got the vibe because the Dread Carl Urban one, it's got a similar vibe, but
Well,
you
and there's
know,
also
cooler.
yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I also I don't
It's
know because
cool in some way.
I've never even come close to cracking open a Dread comic book. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, oh, I've
Right.
never read the comic, whatever, but you've watched a YouTube video or you've heard something.
Sure.
I've never even come close with a Dread comic book. Have absolutely
Yeah,
no idea.
I've seen a comic panel, maybe.
I saw the ones that
Yeah,
were
no,
in the
I
opening
got
credits of
nothing.
this movie.
Right, true. That was definitely the most Dread comic content I've seen.
That
So I'm
being
really talking
said,
out my ass here.
seeing this, other than I know, the only thing I know about Dredd is he doesn't take his helmet off, which he has his helmet off for most of this movie.
Right.
That's the only thing I know about Dredd. That being said, other than that fact, I feel like this is probably a pretty accurate representation of the Dredd comic world.
Yeah, at least yeah, in the feeling of the world, and definitely in the aesthetic and the visual style of the world.
Because I know Dredd is supposed to be this, like, parody of, like, the comic book genre and, like, superheroes and governments and all that kind of stuff. Like, I know that's part
Yeah,
of what
I don't know
Dredd.
that I didn't know that it was meant to be a general superhero parody. I just thought it was more of a general like judiciary system social
I think it's a
commentary type
mix. Like
thing.
it's a comic book
Gotcha.
parody and a like judicial,
Sure,
not
sure.
necessarily superhero, but comic book tropes in general.
Right,
Kind of a parody of
right.
that stuff. Problem with I think something like this, more in tone with this movie. Now, if we get another Dread movie, I really hope it's a sequel to the Carl Urban one, even though I haven't seen that yet.
Sure,
But
sure.
I've heard it's good. I'm going to watch it next week,
Good
and I'm
one.
not going to like it. Um, but I think something like this would probably play better today from a movie perspective, like because we're at a point now with the oversaturation of comic book movies that doing more of these parody style things I think would play better. Whereas this,
Yeah, for sure.
there's not really any comic book movie tropes to play off of. So you're really just adapting something from a comic that the average
Right.
movie goer,
It
aka
doesn't. Yeah,
us,
this movie doesn't play as a parody because we're not privy to the stuff that it's parodying
right.
because we're not nerds.
It's why as you know, the boys. I rewatched The Boys season 1 recently.
Right,
And The
right.
Boys got real
Also
dumb real
rewatch
quick. It
The
got
Boys
it
for
got
sure, for
it got
sure.
real
I mean,
stupid
it
and
was
real bad.
always pretty
The
dumb, but
first season
it
is
I mean,
dumb, but the
it had
first
no, I
season is
for sure,
great.
the first season had such a vibe, such a sauce
And that's what it
that
was doing. Like it was so
yeah,
great at making fun of like that current era
for
of comic book
sure.
movies and whatever. This movie done today could do that well.
Oh, yeah.
In this time period, it just couldn't. There was nothing to play off of. And also, I would
Right.
almost guarantee that the people who made this movie had never read a Dredd comic book. They knew nothing. They maybe read
Sure, sure.
whatever the story in this movie is based off of. They read that one.
Right. They read the comics that they read the pages that were in the introduction.
Right. Um, but yeah, I think it came at a weird time for what it is. Now I know like the 2012 one is not really a parody from what I've heard. Like it's just kind of like we're telling a story,
Yeah,
which is
that's
great.
pretty much it's just straightforward detective type
Yeah, which is cool.
flick in this world. Yeah.
Um, that bit, like I don't know. I would because I'm always a huge fan of these comic book like Invincible kind of plays that way, but not really. Invincible's more just like
It's just violence.
violent. Yeah,
That's the joke.
but I wish there were more of those kind of comic book movie type parody
Yeah.
movies or TV shows because the boys did it really well,
Right.
and
The
this movie,
Tick.
the
That
Tick,
was a good
yeah,
one.
the Tick remake is
Right.
I
Yeah, the
forgot
Prime
the
one
Amazon
was
Prime Tick
cracked.
remake was
Yeah.
very very good, and
They
that's what it
canceled it for
was.
the boys. They took it away from us.
Yeah,
Remember what they took from you?
both of them were Amazon Prime.
Right?
Brightburn is kind of that, but that's more
Yeah,
just like what if
yeah.
Superman was
It's
real?
more of just like a Superman. I don't even know that it's meant to be if he was
It's like
real.
it's a
That's more of
horror
like a
movie, yeah.
Superman as a horror villain and a child.
Right. Um, but yeah, I think this a new Dread would play really really well. I know at one point there were talks of
Mhm.
doing a TV show based on the Carl Urban movie, but not with him. It was just about the judges in that kind of world. I know that was in
Be
talks recently,
neat.
last like 4 or 5 years. Um,
Yeah,
so who
that'd be cool.
knows?
No, I would like to see uh like make it a sequel to the urban one or even a remake, but keep that tone
Mm,
where it's played straight. It's like a legitimate detective noir type movie, but also, you know, little tongue-in-cheek parody of the superhero genre,
yeah.
of which there's, a plethora of shit to pull from.
Right. Have somebody say,
I mean, admittedly, unintentionally, this movie, or at least Rob Schneider's stupid fucking character in
ah,
this
it's the
movie,
worst. We'll get there.
feels like
Straight out
a
of the MCU.
feels like a parody, yeah, of specifically the MCU
Of the
type
specifically the
writing.
late MCU.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. God, the MCU was so bussin' back in the day, man. No
Guys,
cap.
yo, no cap on God, for real, for real.
No, but like you could do a remake of this, and one of the other judges says the "I knew you'd say that" line. Like, how do you plead not guilty?
Right,
I knew you'd
right.
say that, and just have
I knew
Judge,
you'd say
just
that.
have Dredd
I am
shoot
the
him.
law.
Just have him shoot
It's
him.
like, shut up.
Right. Like you could play that. Make him the straight man in this like more goofy kind of yeah. I don't know.
Right, for sure.
There's a lot of things like
Yeah,
that.
I will say, like, I didn't love. I don't think I hated Rob Schneider's character as much as you did, but
I
he did
hated
suck.
it. He was the
But
worst.
I did like Dredd as the straight man to a stupid
The
character.
problem is,
I just didn't really like Stallone Dredd
well, it
either.
wasn't even that.
I didn't like either of the characters, but I liked conceptually the dynamic,
He,
you know?
Dredd was the straight man, but at the same time, he wasn't the straight man because he said stupid stuff like "I am
Right.
the law."
It's that he was also dumb, but they didn't. He was meant to be cool,
Right. And that
but he
never
sucked.
works. It never works
Yeah,
ever. And it is.
I'm
It's this like
surprised.
it's this comparison of he's saying the dumbest lines, and
He's the
also
law.
the we kind of got to this like later on in the movie as the villain's plan was working out, whatever. And he's also not likable in the judges are not likable in this.
Right. For
It's the
sure.
it's the Star Wars prequel Jedi thing. I don't care when the Jedi Order falls because I don't like the Jedi because they're
Right.
the
Because they
worst.
suck.
So
Yeah.
same here with the judges, except for it's not actually happening. Like they don't actually fall. They whatever. I don't like Dread. I
Right.
don't like the judges. They're wrongly accusing people.
Yeah,
They're
and
not admitting when they're wrong.
it never really establishes him as a likable character outside of the fact that he's supposed to be
He's
cool, even
supposed to
though
be cool.
everything he's saying is dumb. A couple of the things he does are kind of cool, but
I think he does some
still
pretty cool
dumb.
stuff throughout, I guess.
I mean, he does cool stuff, but it's still like it's dumb. Maybe it's just dumb because he'll say something dumb right after,
It's just
but.
it's
And it's especially dumb because it's Sylvester Stallone
right.
saying it.
And because the
He's
whole
had more
system
concussions than I have digits,
the
you
whole
know?
system that they work for is broken. And
Right.
that makes it all kind of crumble. I can't root for one of these. It's this is I'm gonna go there, but I shouldn't. It's ACAB philosophy.
Sure,
You know what
sure.
I mean? I can't root for
Right.
if I have a buddy who's a cop,
AJAB.
right?
All judges are bad.
If I got a buddy who's a cop, but also like I know that the system's broken, I can't root for that one buddy. That doesn't mean like, you know what I mean? Like, because you're supporting it, and here's Stallone, and he's
Right.
supposed, and this is way worse than that. Like that's just like that's so much lighter than what the judges are doing in this movie. He murders like 12 people in the opening scene
I mean,
because the government assigned them to live in this, and I get it's a
right.
commentary, I understand it's
Yeah.
commentary. The government assigned them to live in this slum where they're all fighting each other, and they have like rival gangs ordered to live on this same block, and so of course they're going to be
Right.
shooting each other. And
They locked my boy Rob Schneider up
then yeah, that's a
for
plot
trying to
point.
escape, for not engaging in the gang
Like
war.
that's legitimately a plot point in this movie is he sends Rob Schneider to jail because Rob Schneider was trying to escape from the
Right.
fight. Like he was trying to get away from the gunfire.
He was like, "Why didn't you just jump out the window?" It's
Right.
like I would have died, but it would be legal.
That's what he says. And so
You get that?
I can't, and I get it. I get it's supposed to be a commentary, but if you're gonna do that, don't make the main character that I'm supposed to follow and like
Right.
the one
Don't make
who's
him a direct cog in this machine,
right.
who seemingly, like, despite it, like the machine directly turns against him. He is, wrongfully imprisoned. He's framed for murder. He gets thrown in jail with Rob Schneider.
Or make the commentary,
But
or not commentary, make the
he never
parody,
like
make the
he
parody
never.
aspect, play that up. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure.
Because
Yeah, make the fact that he's dumb and he never sees the flaws in the system, make that the joke,
right. Because
instead of just
if you do
a
that,
thing.
if you do that, then that like makes it work. It makes the story compelling. It may not make me like the character, but it makes me want to know what happens
Sure.
next. Whereas the way that you
Right.
do it, you're presenting this guy who is the problem, the ultimate problem of the way this society works. You're also trying to make him the cool guy who I'm supposed to like. And it's just
Right.
this whole movie are those two ideas just bumping up against each
And
other.
admittedly, maybe they were going for something a little more with the him being a genetic clone or grown in a lab, whatever. Like
Maybe.
there's something to that. I don't quite know what. But
Probably.
there's
Well, and we're
something there,
also
maybe.
the Carl Urban Dredd movie is kind of an origin story, right? Like it's his first mission as a judge.
Um,
I
no,
thought I remembered hearing
he's
about that.
established. He's just no.
It's
It's that
earlier
he
on in his career. I do know that.
It's yeah, it's definitely earlier on. It's I don't think it's his first mission. It's that he has the rookie with him, and it's her
Mm.
first mission.
Well, this movie is like he's famous,
Right. He is. Yeah, he's
which is a
renowned.
thing in the comics. Like he becomes famous as a judge. Um, I say that like I've read them.
But yeah, this guy knows just Dredd comics.
um, that I know is like a part of his character is like he's famous. Everybody knows him. All the criminals. It's like late time Batman. It's
Sure.
like
Oh shit! It's the judge.
right. It's like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And this movie is that and shouldn't have been.
Right.
This really should have been a Dredd like origin story. The
Yeah.
the
Kind
murder
of.
thing should have been like his brother comes back and maybe his brother is his first whatever and he doesn't actually kill him and then he comes back and whatever. This working as an origin story to tell how Judge Dredd became like this big famous judge and whatever
Sure.
I
Sure.
think would have worked better.
This is the thing that made him,
Maybe
infamous.
he
The
starts. We're
Judge
rewriting this whole
Dredd.
movie. That's what this podcast has become. Maybe
Right.
he starts at the beginning and he's a little more lenient and he lets Rob Schneider go and
Oh,
Rob Schneider like
sure.
follows him the whole time and then he learns over the course of the movie like he's corrupted into becoming this hard-nosed
Right.
judge who I am the law and like
He
whatever.
just he gets hardened throughout the movie, yeah,
Right.
by seeing the atrocities of the beat.
There's lots of things you could have done and they didn't do any of it. And
Yeah.
we say all of this. The story of this movie is pretty dumb.
Sure. Yeah, it's
We won't do like a long plot breakdown. Basic thing.
we'll break it down. We'll get
Yeah,
the
just
bullet
the key ideas.
points.
Basic idea is Dredd. He has this opening mission. He sends Rob Schneider to jail wrongly, and then a
Mhm.
reporter is reporting on this when some guy dresses as Judge Dredd and shoots him with Judge Dredd's gun. Judge Dredd gets tried for this murder and thrown out into the wasteland, life in prison, and then he works his way back in after this, after finding out that the guy who framed him was actually his brother. Both of them were grown in a lab to be like perfect judges. But one of them used that information to be the perfect criminal and the other to be the perfect judge.
Yeah, I don't quite remember. They said like something went wrong and we accidentally made him the perfect criminal instead of the
I
perfect
think
judge.
the implication of that because they were
It's
both
fish.
judges.
Right, yeah.
I think the idea was he just took the information that he had as the perfect judge,
And
like the
just
code,
he just chose to
and
become
yeah, because if the judges are the perfect judge of criminals, then now he has all the information to be the perfect criminal.
sure,
And so I think
yeah.
that's kind of the flow
He's
of
evil
that. He's
Judge
evil Judge
Dredd.
Dredd, and he even talks
Yeah.
like Stallone. So
Right.
they go back, and Dredd finds him, and they begin to fight. And what his plan is, the bad guy's plan, Rico, it was his name, Dredd's brother.
Right,
He
Rico Dredd.
he's trying to make more of him using the same like lab grown
Yeah.
human technology, but instead he's put his DNA sample in there, and so he's growing judges of him to restart the system. Like he wants to take it back to the beginning. He wants free thinking judges who aren't skewed with their own like propaganda and everything that's being taught to them by the council, so that they can be the new judges.
From his point of view, the judges are evil.
Right. And he wants to put Dredd as the head of
He wants to make him the prime
Yeah,
chief
Chief
justice or
Justice,
whatever.
yeah, whatever the name they give it for this is, and he wants to be in charge. Like he wants to take over the country or the city, I guess.
Mega city, yeah, the
Mega
one
City, that's
single
right.
city.
Such a goofy name. So Dredd fights him. The fight is a little overwhelming. There's a giant robot there. We'll talk about the robot in a minute.
Yeah, robot's cool.
And
Shoots
then he
Rob Snyder.
defeats him after not a motorcycle chase. Motorcycle chase is earlier on, but he defeats him, and then he walks out of the building, instantly puts his Dredd clothes back on, rides off in a motorcycle
Right.
into the sunset. That's like the cliff notes of the plot.
That's it. Yeah.
And it sounds cooler than it is.
Oh well, he goes in the wasteland at one
He
point.
does go in the wasteland. I did mention
Reunites with
that.
Judge
Yeah,
Man.
that's probably one of my favorite parts of the
That's
movie.
that's one of the cooler parts. Yeah, that one took me off guard. I,
It was
I
the
actually really
least
liked
kind of
that
like
little sequence.
anytime this movie has a cool set, you know something cool is gonna happen. Just
Right.
because it's gonna look cool or it's gonna act cool. This movie feels like budget Blade Runner mixed
For
with the Super
sure.
Mario Brothers movie. Like there's a lot of
Sure.
really cool set pieces and uh,
Big cyborg Frankenstein
yeah,
hick monster
yeah.
uh
He's got like
headbutts a bunch.
yeah, he's got like a big
Yeah,
robotic
got like a
arm. The
yeah.
coolest robot spine I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
This like
Like a
helmet that
yeah, like
covers
an
most of his face, but the
exoskeleton
way that
spine.
the makeup is done, I don't know. Like I don't
No,
know
he's
that I've
sick. He's
seen.
gruesome looking. He's got like a Joker scar on his
I don't
mouth.
know that I've ever seen a weird cyberpunk cyborg done as well as that.
Yeah. No, I mean he really does. Like it looks like a cyborg Frankenstein. I'm sure that's the point.
Yeah, his name is
He's probably
probably
some kind of
Cyborg.
character that's
My no superhero,
Franken
Cyberstein.
Excelsior super fans. Yeah, Frankenborg.
Dr.
It's crap.
Frankenborg.
Dr. Frankenborg Cyberstein.
The metal spine.
Excelsior super fans, my new superhero, Clockhead. He's got a timer in his head and you turn it and it makes him evil.
Um,
He starts headbutting a whole bunch.
but yeah.
Yeah.
It's like not only from a creative design standpoint, which it is really creatively designed, but also from like an actual execution standpoint, it's really well built.
Yeah, no, it's dope. It's sick.
It's where half the movie's
Hard.
budget went, I guess.
Probably. The
That and
other
the
half to
opening
the
shot.
big robot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And then and then there's Judge Dredd's contacts.
That's true. We haven't even talked about the blue-eyed fellas. But they're blue. They are.
I don't know why they did it
They're
either.
piercing. They're frightening.
I could not tell you why they decided to put Sylvester Stallone in contacts for this movie. If you needed
Maybe it was,
somebody with blue eyes so bad,
maybe it was just supposed to be like something with the like a clone thing. Like it's just to make him look like a bit of like a genetic like sort of almost androidish, almost like because he does his eyes like they don't move. You pointed it out. They don't dilate. They're constantly at about half mast, if not a little fuller. You know, he looks like he's bugging.
okay, so I did look up
Crazy blue.
why he was wearing contacts.
Oh, okay.
Um, so apparently they were both cloned from Max von Sydow. That was the one they were cloned from. Apparently
No
they
way.
say that in the
No
movie.
way. Who is that?
Max von Sydow? He was the judge who got sent to the wasteland. Max von Sydow's
Oh,
the actor's
okay.
name.
Gotcha.
He was the one who got sent to the wasteland. So he's like
Right,
their
Chief
he's like
Justice.
their
Okay, so
dad.
he's that's Judge Dredd's
And he
dad.
had, if
Gotcha.
you remember, he had those super blue eyes, but
Right.
they were
Yeah.
real, and so I guess they just put them both in contacts to
Gotcha.
show.
Okay, that makes some
I
sense.
guess
Yeah.
just cast an
I like
actor
I
with
like
blue
my I like
eyes,
my
dude.
I like my version of it being because they're supposed to look like genetic freaks.
And maybe that's it too. I don't know. I've seen blue contacts done well. Superman Returns. Most of the
Sure.
time, they're done really poorly. This movie, when Brandon Routh came back to play Superman in Crisis on Infinite Earths,
I don't remember those, but
they were
I'm
bad. They
sure it
looked
was like
like these. The
you.
problem with blue contacts is most of the time, if you're putting somebody in blue contacts, and it's noticeable, it's because they have like really dark eyes. They got like me, like demon eyes, where there's no
Right.
color in them at all. They're just black, which is how
Sure.
Sylvester Stallone's eyes are. And so you're creating a fake pupil, and it doesn't move. It never adjusts. And your
Right.
brain picks up on that. Like you wouldn't ever think that you'd pick up on that until you watch Judge Dredd.
Yeah, well, it's I think you especially pick because I mean, no, like there are eyes, of course, that are that naturally bright blue.
It's
Like
not
some
just the
people just have,
color. Like it's the fact that
well, but it's
they don't move, they don't
sure, but you
adjust.
don't. But because the color is brighter, you see,
Mm,
like if I'm looking you in the eyes, I'm not gonna necessarily see your pupils as much because
because
they're
they don't
closer to
exist.
the color of your just your iris, you know. And even the same with mine. Like my eyes, they're
Yours are a
like
lighter brown.
they're blue green. No, they're not.
Uh
They're not brown. I mean, they're like a brownish. I don't think the color even
yeah, they're
picks
like a
up. They
brownish
look
blue
like
green.
they look
Yeah.
like a hazel green, but a lot of that's the light. But either way, like they're dark in
Right,
their
right. They're dark. Max
yeah
von Sydow's eye. There's a scene where it keeps cutting back and forth from Max von Sydow
yeah.
to Judge Dredd,
Like both
and it
both their
cuts back
faces
and forth.
close up.
And the
Yeah,
color, I would say, is probably spot on.
it's close. Yeah,
And now
it's
looking
a good
back, you
match.
even mentioned this. They were like,
It makes
"Why do
sense,
they keep highlighting his eyes with the light?" And it was because they were
right?
teasing that
But
he's this.
it
Yeah,
was set up.
it was
Yeah.
set up.
No.
But yeah, it's like it's so obvious in that moment because like the camera will cut and the pupils will dilate and they'll come back and it's like natural and
Yeah.
what eyes are supposed to do. And then it'll cut to Stallone and it just looks like
And
he's
they just
tweaking.
won't.
It just
Yeah.
looks like he's
He is
tweaking.
just
It's
he's
horrible.
a bean, dude.
Um and it's not a big deal,
No, I mean
but it's
it was
kind of a big deal.
95. When like you said that when there is that much focus on the eyes, like it is not a plot point, but it's a thing, you know? It's just, it's just, you know?
It's and they keep doing close-ups of his face. And
Right.
in the close-ups they keep like showing his eyes. And I remember the first probably 10 minutes before we realized it, we just kept saying he looks wrong.
He doesn't look right.
And maybe that's another reason they work in like a Superman Returns, because I don't know what Brandon Routh is supposed to look like. I do know what Sylvester Stallone is supposed to look like.
Sure, sure.
I haven't seen Brandon Routh in much else.
Yeah, I mean, I think also for Superman, like looking a little off, a little
Not
alien.
human,
Right. I mean, he is in fact
right?
not that.
He's an Allen.
Right. He's got two dicks.
Does he?
That's what I've heard.
I think
Yeah.
it's just a large one.
I think it like forks at the end though.
Mm,
So he's got at least two, maybe even three heads,
mm.
like the dog.
I'm sure also just
Of
Superman Returns had
mythology.
a higher budget than this and the contacts look better.
Well, sure. It was, 10 or more years later. I don't know when that
I
movie
think it was
came out.
more. And then I do
Um,
remember the ones from Crisis on Infinite Earths because it's a CW show not looking very good. I've pulled up a picture. I'll show you in a little bit.
right. Yeah. Jamie that up.
Not the point. Like, it's that's a
Oh, that was
weird.
my point. That was my entire point of
That's the
even
movie,
talking and
really.
being here. Yeah.
I
My
don't
life's
I don't
purpose.
like that. It's weird. I don't know why they made the choice to not have him just wear his helmet all the time.
Yeah. Well, because it was Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, but I would argue Carl Urban is just as big of an actor as Sylvester
I
Stallone.
I personally would not. I don't think
Yeah, you're right.
Carl Urban
He's
has
been
ever
in
been in anything that was as culturally impactful as Rocky.
uh the Star Trek remake,
Oh,
you
it
know?
was Boner. It's true.
You know? That's my
Yeah,
argument. I don't know what
yeah,
else he's been in other than The
yeah.
Boys.
But like Rocky and Rambo were both
Right. You're right.
huge.
You're right. You're
Had
right. You're right.
already amassed like
You're right.
at least a trilogy each.
Yeah.
Like he was big. He was a porn star.
You're right.
I think
You're
I
right.
fell in love with one of those.
Um
Married in the
but
bathroom
still,
stall.
like, I get it. I feel like you can still tell it's Stallone from just his chin.
Sure, for sure. It also could have just been him, like personally, like he just
Could have
didn't
been.
want to wear the helmet the whole movie,
Could have been.
either out of pride and ego, or just wasn't comfortable,
I
maybe.
will say also, when he's wearing the helmet, I don't know how to explain it, but he's just chin acting.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just him. You just I
I
think
don't
you
know.
would
His, like, he's got his lip
he's a I
thing.
mean yeah,
It was way worse
he's
when
a
he was
heavy
wearing his
jaw
helmet.
mover, you know,
Yeah,
just from
but
talk.
it was like this when he was wearing the helmet.
He was really jutting it.
He was
Yeah,
really getting it.
yeah,
He was hamming it up.
right.
But yeah, he's got a lot of corny one-liners.
Oh, for sure. Some that he just keeps saying them.
One that he just keeps repeating over and
Right.
over.
Well, one that's two,
Right.
because
It's a
there was a
two-parter.
yeah, and it's stupid. I hate it.
It's the worst one for sure.
It's okay in a couple of them,
It's okay the first time
right? Then
because it
maybe
doesn't
even the
feel like a
second time it was
catchphrase. Maybe that's the
right.
problem. It doesn't feel like a catchphrase. He's just
Yeah.
tried to turn it
Well, it's
into
not a
one.
catchphrase until it is. Yeah.
Right. And would you like to do the first part of the catchphrase?
I was hoping you would because I don't remember it. I was
Oh, okay.
trying.
Okay. I'll ask you the question. How do you
All right, yeah.
plead?
Not guilty.
I knew you'd say that.
Oh, how'd you know?
And
Is it because I am in fact not guilty?
I think the second time he says it, he says it to the cyborg Frankenstein, and he says, how do you
Right,
plead?"
that one. Yeah, I remember liking the potential there, but it was real dumb how they did it.
Well, he says, "How do you plead?" And then
He
Frankenborg,
just says nothing. He
he goes,
just groans, even though
and then
they established he could talk.
yeah, he can
He
talk
didn't need to
well.
do
He
that.
talks in a country accent. He saved your
Right.
life.
He saved your life. Said, "Can I kill him now, Pa?"
Can I kill him now,
You
Paul?
saved his life.
And then, but yeah, so he says that. He says, "How do you plead?" And the guy goes, "Rah, rah, rah,
He
rah."
just groans.
And then, and then Sylvester Stallone goes, "I knew you'd say that." And it's like, you knew he'd say what?
Yeah, but then he electrocutes him in his cool
He
metal
does
spine.
electrocute him
So,
with this. Yeah, it was cool.
yeah, and I think it would have been funnier if he said the line after doing that, because then he
Right.
does a big scream. He goes, "Ah!"
Right.
Um,
But he didn't. And then he says it
yeah.
once more later on in the movie. I don't remember who he says it to, but
I think it was at the end when he smooches on Superman's
oh,
mom,
it was when he killed his
and maybe
brother.
also
He
another
said it
time
to
when he
his
kills his
brother.
brother. Yeah, he definitely also said it to Supermom at the end there. I remember that one 'cause it was the stupidest one.
God, they're all stupid.
I mean, yeah,
And then
but
there's several times where he just says, "I am the law," which I know is the thing
sure,
that
sure,
Judge Dredd
he is the
says.
law, in fact.
Yeah.
There was another, there was an especially dumb one that I think he only said once, but it really felt like it was the it's Morbin time one, but like
Oh yeah, I can't
he
remember what
just
it
said
was. Oh, he says, "What did
like
you do to him?" And he goes, "I
oh yeah,
judged
I
him."
judged him.
Oh.
Yeah,
The conclusion of this movie, apparently there was talk of a sequel. Like, this movie did okay.
good on
Um
it.
This movie, it did okay. I don't know how much it made, whatever, but there was talk of a sequel.
I mean, wait till it gets its money.
It never got
Right.
off the ground. I think the studio that made this went under, went bankrupt.
Yeah, all of them. All
of
of them.
them.
Did. Yeah.
The director wasn't going to come back, which, like, okay. I think what was going to be the sequel to this one is eventually what turned into the remake.
Probably,
And I think there
yeah.
are elements of the remake story that were part of the sequel to this. But yeah,
maybe.
I really love. This is one of those just great bad movies. We talk about that all the time. We're always looking for it, like a good, fun, bad movie. This is one of those.
It's got everything a good bad movie should have, you know, if not a little more, because it's got enjoyment, or at least stuff you can appreciate outside of just the fact that it's
Right.
fun because bad, you know, which is admittedly most of the movies that we deem the highest grade of bad movie have got something to appreciate outside of being just bad.
Right. I think we like corny more than we necessarily like bad.
Sure, corny. Yeah.
And this is that
schlocky.
perfect balance. It's that perfect schlock, funny, to it wants to be taken seriously.
Daddy needs his schlock, you know, like.
Right. Daddy needs to
what
get
else
his
can I
schlocks
say?
off.
Right.
Was that a slur?
I don't think so. Could make it
I
one,
would.
though.
I'd recommend
Should.
like have some buddies over. Crack
have
open
a couple
few.
have a couple drinks, you know.
Make some popcorn and then
self medicate if you're into that. Do you
and watch Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Do a double feature with this and then
Sure,
Dredd.
yeah, that's the way to do it.
And drink while you're watching this one, and then acid while you're watching the second one.
I was gonna say maybe just like you go with hard liquor for this one and just stick to beer for the 12 one, but to each his own, I guess. Oh yeah, bust out the nitrous for.
What's the new
remake.
Galaxy gas? Is that's like
yeah, that's like
the vape store whippets,
right?
Get you some of those.
Yeah, get some Galaxy gas.
Strong stuff. I've heard.
Get some like gas station like Delta 10 just like psychedelic mushrooms or something. I remember I had seen these like somehow legal shroom gummies at some, maybe not legal because it was a seedy gas station / vape store / deli.
Probably not.
I mean, you know the vibe.
That's the kind of thing that Judge Dredd would go to shut down.
Right? That's the kind of place Judge Dredd would systematically annihilate. And as he should, really.
But yeah,
nice
do a double feature. I think you'll like this one. Like
if you like this if you've somehow got to this point in the podcast, you'll like watching
it chronologically.
Yeah.
If you're Daniel's dad, you'll probably like this movie, which he's already seen because he watches the movies before he listens to us talk about them. But that's all I got, man. You got anything else? You got anything you want to add?
I got 5 on it, but that's about it.
Next week we're going to be
Listen
watching
with that Indo.
Dredd 2.
Oh, I drew a picture.
I drew a picture of Judge Dredd. It's just his mouth.
Oh, mine was a penis.
Oh.
It was a reference to the neon sign from the beginning of this movie.
It was our first and only pause to like go back and look at something.
Not just we ran it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna watch Dredd 12. They made 2012 Dredds, and we're not watching the first.
Skip all of those.
Well, we watched the first one, but we are not gonna watch the next.
We're skipping the other
2010.
2010, right?
But then we'll watch that one. It's gonna be great. Join us next week for that. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you on the next episode of Semi Bro.
And never forget,